Hey everybody, it is late at night and I am Norman. Tonight I want to talk about one of my all-time favorite shows. And I'm certain that this is not going to shock anybody, but I absolutely love Mad Men. I love the fashion, I love the characters, the props, the decor, the architecture, and of course, the watches. This show has had a profound impact on certain aspects of my life, such as what clothes are in my closet, what music is on my playlist, and, of course, what watches are in my watch box. Speaking of which, for this video, I am wearing my Stova Antia. I am wearing it on a Mocha Shell Cordovan band with a buckle guy buckle. This is one of the few non-black or gray bands that I own, and it looks really sharp on this watch. And I felt that was pretty fitting considering the topic. Tonight I want to talk about some of the watches that appear in the show. One of the things that Mad Men is known for is authenticity in costuming, sets, and props. The watches in the show were rented from a company called Watches to Buy. And the story goes that 24 hours before filming was to begin, Derek Dyer, the owner of the company, received a call from Ellen Freund, the prop master for the show, requesting a watch for a certain character in the show. Which character? The main one, Don Draper, 24 hours before filming was to begin. Absolutely crazy. So tonight I'm going to go over the watches character by character, beginning with Ken Cosgrove. Ken Cosgrove is an account executive in the show, and he's also a freelance writer in his free time. Some of my favorite scenes are where he's sharing his various story ideas with his coworkers. His ideas are really cool. Sadly, this side hobby gets shut down by his superiors. In season 3, he's shown wearing a Hamilton electric watch, and I was unable to find any other information on this watch. So what I have for you are these two screenshots. You can see that it's gold tone and it has a dark dial. Beyond that, I don't really have any details. So let's move on to the next character, Pete Campbell. Pete Campbell. Now that's a character that you love to hate. At the beginning of the show, he is head of accounts, and his aspirations cause conflict between him, Don, and even Roger Sterling at times, so they butt heads, and it's really interesting to watch. He comes from a family of money. He's extremely immature, makes really poor decisions, and kind of bumbles around. Yet, as the seasons go on, we see him rise to the top, and he ends up becoming a partner. In season 5, he's depicted wearing a Hamilton Sputnik. This watch is super space age, super retro future looking. I really love the watch and would love to own one myself. The dial is extremely unique. The lugs kind of radiate out from the center. It's a great watch for a young character like Pete to be wearing. The next character's watch that I want to discuss is Megan Draper, Don's second wife. Megan Draper is an aspiring actress, and this causes conflict in her and Don's relationship, and ultimately causes it to fall apart. She is modern and edgy, and one of the best scenes in the show is where she pulls up in the convertible to meet Don. And with the Spencer Davis Group song, I'm a Man, playing in the background, she gets out of the car. The whole scene is in slow motion. She takes her sunglasses off and is walking toward Don. She is the epitome of beautiful, modern, hip, jet-setting, mid-60s woman. You really don't get cooler than that scene. The watch that she's seen wearing in season 5 is a Jules Jurgensen watch, which is an interesting choice for a modern character like her, because the watch is actually really classic looking. But it is beautiful and it does look good on her. So there you go. Next up is Roger Sterling. Roger Sterling is one of the partners of the firm, and this character is crazy. I love Roger Sterling. He is so entertaining to watch because he is out of control. Everything from his many extramarital exploits to super drunk driving and crashing outside of Dawn's house, making a pass at Betty Draper, counseling, heart attacks, blackface for heaven's sakes, just out of control and so entertaining to watch. In seasons 5 and 6, he's seen wearing a Tudor Oyster Prince tuxedo dial. And apparently, John Slattery, who plays Roger Sterling, fell in love with the watch and decided that he wanted to get one for himself. The last character's watches that we'll be looking at is the man himself, Don Draper. Don is the man, and John Hamm absolutely nailed the role. He embodies all the cool that is this show. When we first meet Don, he is an ad man powerhouse. His thought process and solutions to the problems at hand are genius. The writing in this show is absolutely phenomenal. You watch the show and you want to be Don, yet at the same time you don't want to be Don. I mean, he just throws his family away. He has a dark, mysterious past. We watch him become partner. He becomes jobless. He becomes a millionaire living in an absolutely amazing condo. He hangs out with the likes of beatniks, bohemians, and hippies. And the final scene of the final season of the show is absolute genius. Throughout the different seasons of the show, he's seen wearing at least 5 different watches. In season 1, we see Don wearing a JJ LeCoultre Memovox tuxedo dial. Now, I read an article where the author posited that this was actually a Rolex, but if you look closely to the screenshot, it definitely looks like a JLC Memovox. One interesting thing about this watch is it actually has an alarm in it, and that's the purpose of that inner circle on the dial with the triangle on it. I wasn't able to find any pictures with the exact indices that we see in the screenshot from the show, but I did find some that look pretty close. In season 2, we encounter a watch that actually plays an active role in the show, because Betty Draper talks about having it engraved. This is another JLC, a JLC Reverso Classique in gold, or rose gold, depending on which article you read. I love reversos. A reverso is actually my current Grail watch. Not in gold, but in the steel. But nevertheless, reversos are so great. In season 4, we see an interesting change in Don's taste in watches. We see him wearing an all-steel sports watch, a Rolex Explorer with the black dial. I'm not sure what the thought process was here in sandwiching a sports watch in between Don's usual dress watches. I may have to go back and revisit this season and see if there was something going on in Don's life that I don't recall. In season 6, we get a brief glimpse of another gold watch that Don wears. This time, it is an Omega DeVille Prestige in yellow gold. I love the DeVille line of vintage Omega watches. So even though this is yellow gold, which I don't generally care for, this watch looks great. And last but definitely not least, we have another Omega, an Omega Seamaster DeVille with a black dial. This watch shows up in seasons 5 through 7, and it is beautiful. This is actually the watch that caught my attention more than any other watch in the show. I love the sector dial on it. I love the hands. I love the overall aesthetic of this watch. I don't even mind the date window on it. This watch is absolutely beautiful. And really, I ought to keep my eyes open for vintage DeVilles like this one. I might have to own one someday. Yeah. So there you have it, The Watches of Mad Men, my all-time favorite show. This video has been so fun to go through the different characters and their watches. If you haven't seen the show, you really need to watch it. It's so fun to follow the exploits of all these insane characters in an insane environment. And it's fun to take a journey through the decade of the 60s. This is a reality that we will never experience again. And this show is so authentic and just takes you there and puts you in that world. Thanks for watching.